how do you navigate a 50-50 relationship or even a 70-30 and bring partners on and not be a solopreneur, but start to scale fast or investors, partners, et cetera? So that's kind of the main thread. So give us kind of the background.
Yeah, I mean, well, there's a great book called, I think it's The Richest Man in Babylon. And the first few chapters are about partnerships. And partnerships are a great way to create like massive acceleration, right? It's the best way to accelerate and grow quickly is through the right partnership. But, most partnerships also end. So it can also be, the hardest part about business is, partnering with someone, because then it's not all your way, right?
Yeah.
It's agreement. And I would really recommend for people that are, looking at partnering for the first time is take a lot of time to make that decision. Don't have your first partnership with someone that you don't know very well. I mean, Rex and I had known each other for 7.5 years. We'd worked together for 7.5 years before partnering up in this company. So we knew each other's strengths and weaknesses. We had a lot of trust. I mean, trust is really, really important in a partnership. I know a lot of examples of people who start businesses and they're successful. And then someday there's $100,000 in the bank account, someone just takes it. And their partner asks them, why did you take it? And they say, well, I thought you would take it.
Wow.
And that's a common thread. If it doesn't happen year 1 or year 2 or year 3, it can happen down the road. So I think trust is really, really important. There's a term that we use really early on, and I sort of use it now as a point of reference for all potential partnerships, which is, just equally yoked. Mm-hmm. Equally yoked is a term describing, 2 oxen working side by side with each other. One's not in front, one's not in a lead. They have the same harness, they have the same responsibility, but those 2 animals pulling together can pull 5 times or 10 times more workload pulling together. And so
versus just one horse. Just
one person.
Yep.
And we see that it's true in like so many examples. I think for us, the decision, Rex says it really well, which is if 1 + 1 was going to be 3 or greater, it was going to make a lot of sense for us because the relationship was there and the trust was there. And we really believed that 1 + 1 was going to equal 10 or more. Yeah. And so from that standpoint, and that's really definitely what's happened. It's definitely what's happening. I mean, going into 2021, 1 + 1 is going to look like 100 times what either one of us were going to do now 9 years later. And so, for us, it was a really good decision. But I would tell people, approach it like you would, marriage. I mean, approach it like you would a lifetime decision. I mean, if the business works and you're successful, it quite possibly could be a lifetime decision.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think what's sad is some people go into business not thinking it's going to work. And it's like, well, that's kind of the problem is you're going in this with the end of failure and like going into this obviously like protected, but at the same time, it's like, hey, like we're planning on being like buddies until we're 50 and like singing and like on our yachts, like hanging out, you know what I mean? Like that's like how I look at any kind of partnership. It's like somebody that I want to be going to Mexico with because we like each other, not because like, hey man, did you get your work done? Like that relationship is.
If you don't have enough of a friendship to want to spend time with each other outside of the work, then it's probably going to be very difficult. It's certainly not nearly as enjoyable because there's times where the money isn't going to be what you want it to be, or you have all kinds of problems in business that you're always solving. But if you're not able to step back and go actually just enjoy your life and have fun with that person or people, then it's always just a job all the time. And it can cause just a lot of friction, if things are not going the right way, and it gets harder and harder to really, double down with each other and the mission that you have for each other. If that just becomes harder to do as time goes on, if there's not a foundation of being able to spend time with each other, go on vacations together, have real conversations outside of just the financials and strategy and things like that. Because having that healthy balance, I think, is really, really important. That's helped us, with our wives. We've taking trips. Sometimes you take trips solo because we need a break from the company, and that includes you guys
for sure.
And nope, you're not invited on this one. But for the most part, we've done a lot of really personal things together that really just strengthen the business part of it and keep carrying you forward.
Yeah, He actually said something that's really important. Like, you have to have enough confidence in the relationship to also not spend time together.
Yeah.
I mean, in a 9-year relationship, like if you look at a 9-year marriage, it's just not the same every year, right? Like the freshness of your friendship or the quality of your friendship, it's not going to be the same. Like in 9 years, like Rex has had 3 kids, and like I went through a divorce, and there were knee surgeries, and just it's like you go through heavy stuff together. There's good seasons where you're making money. There's seasons where you're losing money, or you're fighting, the biggest storm in your area in 100 years, and you're fighting COVID, and you're fighting these things. And so it's just not all easy. And you have to have that relationship where you enjoy spending time together. And then you have to have that trust that when you're not willing or able to spend that time together, that things are still going to be okay.
Yeah.
How do you handle that when, let's say you're going through knee surgery or you're going through divorce, and it's like, dude, I'm not going to be my 100% right now because obviously I can't, right?
Yeah.
Obviously there's times where one feels like they're pulling more than the other. And I think that's where any partnership goes sour fast, is they're like, I'm doing all the work and you're riding my coattails, and I've had that feeling sometimes with just people I work with. It's like, man, no, like I'm a freaking A player. Like right. You're a B player right now. Like, you know what I mean? How do you navigate that?
Well, good communication is always really, really important. A lot of it is, some of those thoughts start really slow, and they build resentment, or they fester over time. And a lot of it comes from a lack of communication, where the partner may not have gone and said, hey, like this is the season I'm going through, or here's how I'm feeling, and here's where I'm at. And is actually having that dialogue. And if it's not had, then from my perspective, I can look like just, well, what are you doing? And how come you're not doing whatever in my head I think you should be doing? And so a lot of it can be totally mitigated by just communicating with just the bandwidth that people have, the season that they're in is really important. From a partnerships perspective as well, understanding that you're going to go through seasons where you're going to need to carry more than the other person. Maybe that's just because it's your department, and your department needs more attention, or needs more help, or needs to be rebuilt. And the other department might be going great. So it's like, hey, I'm going to keep doing me.
Yeah.
You're going to need to step it up and, and do your part. And so that might trigger and require, extra effort, extra hours through a season like that. Or it might be something personal that needs where the person just needs more time or isn't able to put in as much as the other one. So being able to be in a situation where, you're okay with doing more for still, whatever the partnership structure is, as far as, money distributions, things like that.
So this is a follow-up question that you're obviously installs your sales. Obviously there's like a battle between, your sales are low and we're sitting here just chomping at the bit, hungry, ready to go. And then all of a sudden you ramp up sales. You're like, wait, slow down, stop selling. And there's this like ups and downs. And I feel like a lot of these people listening to this are sales entrepreneurs. Like you obviously have a background in sales, so you kind of see that side of the world. But how do you value, I think this is where people get skewed, is they, sales is worth X%. And if without me, I'm going to, I'm sure you've had these kind of conversations. Like how do you navigate that?
Yeah, it's really simple. I tell our whole company, I said, you're here because you're really good at your job. That's why we hired you, regardless of what department it is. It could be anywhere from customer service to, top salesperson or executive. You're here because you're good at your job, what you're doing. You're also here because someone else is good at their job. And I paint this picture that without every single spoke, it doesn't work. You can make all the sales you want. If you don't have a project management team, none of those jobs are going to go through permitting. You can have the best project managers. If you don't have good installers, you can have all these cleared, ready to go deals and no one to install them. It doesn't matter. And you can get all of that done. But if you don't have an accounting department and to process payroll, no one's getting paid. So then no one's showing up to work, right? And so you can paint this really clear picture that you are good at your job. That's why you're here. But you're also here because someone else is good at their job. And it really takes everyone for it to work. So that's how I keep everyone
at bay. At bay. No, because it literally is a constant thing.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, especially if you look at solar, right? Because the marketplace right now it's an early marketplace. So it's an immature marketplace. So we have not experienced the full price compression of what the real retail price of solar is. And the marketplace is rewarding sales reps, like just really extreme, like in the stratosphere of rewards, right? Where a solar sales rep can make, $10,000 commission on a 90-minute sale, and the company who's installing that might only make $1,500, right? And then they're warranting that for 25 years. But that is the market, right?
Yeah.
And that is the market across the board. And so you can't fight the market, I feel like, and experience, really good growth. You have to adapt. You have to be flexible. You have to recognize where the market is and where the market's going. And right now, that's where people are being rewarded. And so you have to have compensation that reflects that in the marketplace. How we balance it out, I mean, we try to reward operations really well. We also let people know, hey, everybody is eligible to go into sales. Like if you are attracted to that and it's the money and that's what you want, like everybody is open for that. And we try to create paths for that. Solar, even really disciplined sales teams have about a 20 to 25% cancellation rate. And so that creates opportunities in operations to save deals. And so we split commissions and save deals and things like that. We give project managers and case managers opportunities to upsell deals, 20 panels to 30 panels, or upsell a battery, upsell an electric vehicle charger. So you can kind of get them involved in the commission structure, but also just being really transparent and explaining, hey, this is how the market is rewarding people. If you want to be rewarded this way, let's start creating a career path for you that way. I mean, because we're in a really unique situation right now, and you can't building against the marketplace. Business is hard enough.
Yeah.
Trying to do something in the exact opposite direction that the marketplace is demanding it just doesn't make a lot of sense.
Yeah.